All right, and we are live once again. Ugh. So, another Sunday, like I said, getting closer to Christmas. That means anything to anyone other than more money, more stress, or more fun. Oh, let's see here. Okay, and our first visitor. Morning. Morning, everybody. So, yeah, another week has passed. A lot of things going on in the world, not so much involving firearms and that, but just what's going on with the metals. I don't even watch the stock market anymore and the economy. And but the one thing I notice locally is there's been a lot more as the economy is strained. I always see uh, megabait. I always see it kind of coincides with it. It was like back in 2008 and everything. Whenever things go to hell in a handbasket with the economy, you see a lot more violence. Um, I don't know how many shootings they had just locally in Greensboro. Uh, there was a news report they found someone dead laying outside one of the fire stations. But yeah, a lot of road rage. We had a shooting on the highway in Winston, road rage. Somebody was shot and killed. Missioner just driving to the friggin' store, okay, in the daylight. Uh, so I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't mean to spread stuff this close to the holidays, but just be careful what you do and be aware and alert and avoid certain things. Like right now, any type of shopping or whatever, like even going to get groceries. Me and my wife get up early. We go there as early as we can, like 8 o'clock in the morning, get it done, get out, get back home. You know, if you go after 12 when there's a large amount of people, that's when the stuff, I forget where, I was driving somewhere. Oh, I had to go to the dentist for a late appointment. And, the traffic and how people drive was insane on the way home around 5 o'clock. Yeah, I mean that's what you should do no matter what, but it's getting more difficult uh, and crazier, you know, as it all goes. But I guess we'll wait and see. I have no idea what the politicians are doing, and everything's just in a mess. You know, they ain't getting no better. And but they predicted this. They predicted that this month would things would be strange, and going into the first quarter of next year, things are going to be a little off. I do know a lot of people I know are unemployed now. You know, people are out of work. Um, so I keep plugging along. I'm going to go out, try to complete another build, try to get out to the range. Right now, the weather is bad. And that's another thing. If we cut out all of a sudden, because we got some windstorms coming through the area, it might knock out the internet and all that other fun stuff. Been having trouble with that. Spectrum is bad, and it just blocks out all of a sudden. Comes back on 5-10 minutes later. But with storms and that, and the really low temperatures, it's supposed to get down to negative with the wind chill tonight. So basically, a day for me to stay home. Yeah, where's that at? You know, it's not. I don't know if it's not so much the jobs. it's just a lot of these people have these jobs where I believe they're consolidating, you know, and just eliminating people. Yeah, I mean, it was cold this past week up here. I know where you live, up that way towards Reedsville and that, and Ruffin. It's way colder. You're up in you're elevated up there, man. And then down where I am, down in Greensboro, when I go up to that gun range, it's a big difference temperature and everything. Yeah, in northern LA. I was stationed in Long Beach for almost 2 years down there when they built my ship, the Todd Shipyards. Uh, all of that's gone. Uh, you know, that whole area there. They said with the wind chill, my wife said it's going below. The wind, if the wind's blowing, it's going to be down towards zero. Well, yeah, you're not even here. We don't find workers worth a damn, especially in the manufacturing or machinist trade. These young people, you know, it's not like it was. And people like me just get crippled up, too old to work. I could work 70 hours a week and make top money if I still was physically able to, but I'm not. I can't change inserts in the machines or do any. And if you work for a small company, generally, anytime the machines break down, you got to take them apart and do the maintenance. And I can't do that. I can't crawl in there and uh, take spindles out. At one place I worked, I go up see the guys every now and again, and I talk. I go visit the owner whenever I'm passing by, and the manager there. And he's got one lathe with the spindle and the whole mechanism, hydraulic airlines, and everything's been strung up there and hanging. It's been like that for the past 4 or 5 months, so it's not a good thing. Yeah, it's tough. Indiana, I don't really hear much about Indiana. It's the other states. How are the gun laws there? Uh, yeah, because that's if I had to go back to work, I got to take some job that isn't physically demanding, like mechanical, and do it for minimum wage. But eventually, I'm probably going to have to because trying to do anything with guns or firearms now is a pain in the ass. Uh, you know, and then starting next year, if you get any money in electronic payments through PayPal, Zelle, or any of that, okay, once you hit that $600 limit, and if you go over cumulatively over the year, you're going to get a 1099. So selling, like I sold, I don't know, a sword and some bayonets and stuff on eBay and odds and ends. And nobody will send you a check or a money order. They all want to pay you electronically with the guarantee and all this other stuff. And just trying to make some money on the side selling all the wonderful items I have in my little storeroom here, because it adds up. But now I'm going to get taxed, you know, and flea markets and gun shows, forget it, they're all downside. It isn't like it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I understand that sentiment there. That's true. All right. Yes, I thought so. Indiana. Yeah, I don't hear much about that state. You know, Wisconsin, and all these other ones. Well, in New York, I was talking to some of my friends back home past couple weeks after Thanksgiving just to see how everyone my age is retired now, so they sit around the house. They're under about 3 foot of snow up there right now. Uh, I guess in New York State, if you go buy any kind of ammo, box 22s, you have to go and fill out, like, you have to have a background check. So my friend really doesn't shoot in them, but he was telling me you got to go down there and it's just like buying a gun. They run a background check on you and all this. And then you got to come back the next day. Once it's approved or something, you got to wait 24 hours for you can leave the store with the ammo. Okay, there's some kind of crazy stuff like that. Of course, he probably hasn't bought any ammo, but he's just reading about it. Yeah, that's crazy. Because if you look, when you order ammo, there's a list of states. I know California, if you get it out of state, it's got to go to an FFL dealer. So I don't know if California does that or has been doing that. And a lot of places, when people ask about buying ammo, they have a separate card in some states that is a license that allows them to buy ammo. I forget if that's Connecticut or Massachusetts or something. I'm not quite sure. Morning. Yeah, but like I'm saying, I could go back to the place that I've worked for years and work up to 70 hours a week if I want. I'm just physically crippled and can't do it. Okay. Uh, or I would be still working to this day if I had the ability to actually to work. Okay. If you ever watch my videos, my left hand is done. I'm disabled. Even though the government says I'm not disabled, I'm disabled and can't really work. I can't count change as a cashier. Okay. But these assholes told me after 2 trips in front of a judge that by their requirements, I am not disabled and I can still 100% work. So, New Jersey, I can still buy food online to my New Jersey house and then see. Never, never, I don't know, ordering food online, canned goods or dry goods or something, I guess. I don't know. Just an attempt. You got to pay him to attempt to purchase ammo. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, but see, them CNC machines now, they're pretty quick. You got to have good reflexes, and if you don't watch what you're doing, you can get really hurt. And that's why I kept telling them the high speed machinery. It ain't like it was 40 years ago. That's bad. But eventually, I'm gonna have to go find some sort of job somewhere, part time at least. I just want to see how things settle out here the next few months, because it is getting intense. Like I said, the just here, the we went through the year without any significant crime or nothing, and then within the last couple of weeks, I think there's been more murders in Greensboro in the past 2 weeks than there have been all year, or fatalities or whatever. Now, ammo. Ah, okay. Okay, all right, I get you now. That's right. We got to speak in codes. I left my code book in my other jacket. I can't say things. That's the thing too. I want to do another retro rifle. I assembled a bunch of parts, and I think I posted it today. I showed you. I'm gonna build an A1 style build. I'm gonna use a lower receiver, but this one I ain't doing in 1 and 12. I'm gonna do in 1 and 7, and a lot of them, and it's gonna be uh, black nitrated finish, not the gray that they do, which it's supposed to be, but because there's a lot of parts and things laying around, and then all the stuff I took off the 601 build is black anyway. The switch, the safety and the pins and all that other stuff. So, but I would like to do, because I had to take down over 100 videos of me doing polymer 80 builds, me doing 80% receivers and for ARs, and anything that had to do with like setting a barrel on an upper receiver or changing the stock. Um, any of that kind of had to go, and I just uh, I'd like to make another video. I've been attempting it. I got it down. Okay, yep. Been stocking food for years. Yeah, you kind of have to. 10-5 Smith. Whoa. That star I I won, it was 180. Okay. I what I was doing is just screwing around on one of the online places like Proxybid or something. And there was an auction somewhere that had this Star Model B. And I wanted one of the older ones built in the 40s with the wooden grip that had '08 marked on it. And I said, ah. And they were going for pretty close to five, 4.5. You couldn't touch them 4 or 5 years ago for less than 4.5. So I was just screwing around. I said, 180. Got it. I saw all of a sudden on Monday, I get up, I get this email, you won. And I'm like, oh, okay. By the time it got done with a $25 transfer fee, and that was close to three. It was 290 something. Okay. But still, at three, considering what the prices were on that and what they were going for, and I mean, you'd see a guy must have had 5 or 6 of them. So he put one up on Gunbroker, and then it just run up, and and he'd wait a week or two, put another one up, and then again he'd start them off at a penny or something, and the friggin' things would go for people wanting them. Now that's why I got to make a video discussing the Milsurp stuff. Okay. Yeah, we'll see the Milsurp stuff, like a K98, forget about it. You ain't touching them for less than a K in I'd say kind of good condition. Let's use that description, good condition. In other words, there's rifling in a barrel and stuff like that, because the one auction I told you guys about, somebody went and shot all these frigging guns with corrosive ammo and never cleaned them. So when they took the rust out, there's hardly no rifling. I mean, it looks like a cast iron water pipe all rotted out. And he had a KR98, and it like went for 8 beans, and it's none of I wouldn't touch any of them. To me, they're all junk. I didn't want them. They don't have bores in them. If I want a decorative piece, I'll buy something off of Amazon or something. I don't like buying guns that I can't shoot, and they get a lot of money for them. Then they also had, remember, Blue Sky when they first were importing the Garands and the carbines. Uh, some of those guns were in rugged shape. Okay, they were bad, and of course he had an M1 and 2 carbines, all Blue Sky stamped on there, and This one guy I knew was looking at it, but this other guy that was an antique dealer come over and told him, stay away from them. Don't even bet on them. They're not worth it, which they're not. But yeah, I'm going to do a video about the 15, depending on what it is, about milsurp. Oh, TC, yeah. M1A1. Yeah, those TS guns are not terrible. There are some buys out there that one I keep talking about from Turkey, the 9mm. I mean, I was out shooting it. My wife was shooting it. The 9X. They're selling them for under $200, $190 something, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with those pistols. I mean, and ARs are $4. Okay, they got even the Radical Firearms. They're still the Andersons have dried up. Because I mean, they lowered them, like I told you. I got mine for well under $4 after paying the shipping and all the fees and tax. So them Andersons evaporated. They're gone. Now, if you want the same damn thing, you got to pay well over $4, close to $5 for High Point. Okay. Whoever took over, and it's identical. It's an Anderson, except just on the receiver it says High Point Firearms. That's the only difference. But Radical Firearms, there's several places out there now, 3.5. So you figure it's a half a yard to get it to you. Shipping, tax, fees, at least with me on average, half a yard. So that takes it right on $4 even on the money, which those guns, I mean, there's videos out there where the chamber was screwed up and cases were exploding in there or something. And of course, one guy went and he's shooting some kind of steel cased ammo in there, which I shot a whole pile of steel cased ammo in mine. And, it wasn't Wolf, it was, the other company, Tula or something or whatever. It was in a black box. And I bought that well over 10 years ago. Stuff went off and it worked. So I don't know. I mean, it's the same exact model, same exact gun that I bought. Then you got somebody else doing a thing on it, not a hitch. Of course, one guy went and bought, the one is, I forget the name, but it's a Delton. They make a Delton gun with a flat top, no forward thing. Those are 3.5 yards. Okay. This guy gets it, doesn't clean it, and then shoots it, and it gets gummed up after so many rounds because that oil or whatever they put in there is thick and heavy. You got to clean it out. And if you're shooting steel cased ammo, that's the filthiest stuff you can get. Whatever that powder is in there, I mean, it leaves all kinds of black, crappy stuff in there. And if you got oil in there in an AR, it turns into little black lumps the following. Okay, that's what happens with my friggin' 6.5 Grendel. I get 20, I shoot one box through it after about 15, 18 rounds. I got to pull the bolt carrier out, bang it on a wooden bench, and all this black crap falls off, and then I put it back in the gun, and it'll fire another 10, 15 rounds. But, yeah, I mean, they're priced down there. I've seen some of them a little under $3, but like I said, you add the 50 to it to get it to you, with all the fees and postage. It comes out about 3.5, and I mean, they are a nice gun. I got one in 45 and I got one in 9. Okay, that's how much I like them. That 9, it was under $3 when I bought it. Of course, like I said, it comes out The same as if I went to a gun show and a guy had one for 3.5 on there. You know, it's basically what it all comes out to. Yeah. So you got was that on Gunbroker or something? See, that's where you got to watch that, because I know on the Gunbroker, they started off at a penny and you're bidding on this, and all of a sudden there's somebody kind of mysteriously. So you don't do it towards the end, you do it like in the middle when it's real low. You put a bid in, you know, say if it was, you're looking at something for 6, okay, and you said, okay, I'll go 2.5, and then within 24 hours the bid gets bumped, and this is like less than a week or a week away, and you go, all right, you wait a day or two, then you throw one in for 3.25 or something, and then all of a sudden mysteriously within 24 hours it gets bumped again. That's when the serious people on serious things, it comes to the end in the last, that 15-minute thing. There's several items I found on the Gunbroker that I wanted. They were decent items. Kind of didn't want to pay, but I had another person, and I even know who these people are because I bid against them, like on really old antique guns. It's the same jokers. They either must be dealers or they're collectors or something. And this guy would go, and I remember I was sitting on my phone bidding at the American Legion. And some of it, I hit there, and it was about where it should be, about 7. So I'd go put the bid in, watch the 15-minute thing, then I'd go, and in the last minute, he'd bump it to 5 or 10. So I went, bid, waited. He did the same thing again. So I run into this guy, you know, and I eventually ended up winning it, but I was stupid on what I did. So if we come to another thing and he comes in, pulls the same thing again, about 7, getting towards 8. So he does this 1-minute bid thing. So I just put 9.5 on the next bid. Go for it now. And he waits for, he tried it once, then twice, you know, ran it up 10 more, and then he realized, you know, I knew what I was doing, and I've already, you know, I bumped it. I want it, I'm gonna get it. So you can sit there for the next hour and a half doing your $5, $10 increments, $5, $10 increments, but that's the way it goes. You know. But and see, that's why surplus guns, 16 Magtech. Magtech ain't bad. I got some of it back during the plague that would light strike a lot in my guns. And then that Norma range and training, I bought a case. That was the worst ammo I ever bought. And you know, when you went and looked at the shell casings and I was measuring, that's not Norma brass. Okay, because Norma makes some of the best brass there is, and it's to spec. The roundness was off and the thickness was on, and that's probably what the hell was happening, is the extractor wouldn't snap over and it holds it. That's where you get your light strikes from. Okay. Stuff was junk. But yeah, the Magtech's pretty good. The only thing I had with them, problem with them, and that, again, that all happened when that ammo was manufactured during the plague years. Because I got one of them, I think Magtech, something else. I've used that ammo over the years and really never had no trouble with it. But yeah, you got to watch it. And they're drowning in 9. They made a ton of it. People just ain't buying. People ain't buying much of anything. 5.56 still. By the time you get said and done, it's 0.5 units, you know, around. I liked it when it was under, you know, 0.37 when you got it delivered. It's a little bit easier on you. And I burned up fooling around with them budget ARs now with retro and that, and then taking my other build out, and I've been burning up ammo at a much rapid rate. And I'm doing mag dumps. I'm just testing 5, 10 rounds here, box of this, box of that. It adds up. But I keep track of all that. And whatever ammo kind of works fairly well in the different and each one is different. Okay, if you watch the videos. It's like one of them budget guns really shot that 55 grain excuse me. And PMC ammo was deadly. I mean, under 1-inch group, but in one of the 4 or 5 guns tested. But most of them, that's another thing. Them budget guns, they're 1-in-7s. The 1-in-8 I'm keeping because I have the 1-in-12 retro. I have 1-in-9 that I built years ago. I got the 1-in-8 now and a bunch of 1-in-7s. And it's kind of hard because all the budget guns are 16-inch barrels. The ones I liked 18-inch barrels. Like in a mid-length handguard or something. That's my favorite size for a little compact rifle, without getting down into pistol size, 10-inch barrels or whatever the hell. But yeah. Is that what it was when you bought it, not counting the shipping? Because another thing you got to watch out when you see these, some places were offering a case of ammo, okay, really low price. They're charging $35 shipping, where a lot of them, it's, you go over 2 bills, it's free shipping. See, that's what's tough about buying it. I forget that place my buddy said he got a membership, and he said it did save him money or something. I don't know. Yeah, Academy will run a damn sale in the store where you can make out. They do that at Blazer. And Blazer Brass, that's probably the best, least expensive ammo you can buy. And that stuff works great in just about all my guns. I really didn't get a lot of light strikes or nothing on it. I bought cases and cases. I think I got a case laying over there I didn't even open yet. But I don't like leaving. See, the steel stuff, I leave at the range. If it's brass, even though I don't reload, I may have to go down to the scrapyard. I just got a giant box of Barrett primed and all this other stuff I've been accumulating. May have to make a run, scrap run. Yeah, that was prior to I actually made a video where I went to Sportsman's Warehouse and they had pallets of ammo in the one aisle. And the stuff got sold out. And then when the plague hit, forget it. $40, $50 a box for the stuff you were paying $8.50 for. Flex 3 trigger. Flex MR3 trigger. I have no idea what that is. I use basically mil specs. One gun, I put some sort of a special box trigger in. I I have no idea what you're talking about. It won't engage with selects on the flex. And I don't run suppressors. Okay, so I know that does change the timing on your guns, uh, but I kind of can't help you there. 22 was a penny or two. Yeah. Yeah, they do periodically, but when you go in there online, if you're buying a case, you're going to beat their price. They do that, I guess, to get people to come into the store. You know. All right. All right. Yeah. So you made out okay, and it's right towards the end of the year. They want to get their sales up. So I haven't even kept up with the ammo. I've been just looking at the parts. And I know that PSA's got a lot of quality issues, but they're selling complete lower ARs and that and uppers and stuff. It's tempting. Can't pass. Not even to build, just to put them on the shelf and set them for another day. Okay, type of purchase there. But I could easily spend a good chunk of change stockpiling a lot of that stuff. And the problem with ARs is it's not that people really kind of don't want them no more. It's people ain't got the money to buy them anymore. Is what the issue is there. Well, the problem is with that is if you look at, you can't buy like 1 pound of powder online or 1,000 primers. You have to buy so many items in hazmat, and they will ship primers and powder together. They didn't at one time, now they will. And it's like you got to buy 1 or 2 8 pound. You got to drop close to $1,000, okay, and or half of that, and then numerous items like so many primers or whatever. Then you divide the hazmat per item, and it comes out to what the store charges you. Okay, you go get a pound of powder. Say you bought 4 pounds or 8 pounds. Divide the shipping, handling, hazmat, and anything, and you will find out that it may be a few dollars less or exactly the same when it's sitting on the shelf. They know that. They know you can order it. And that's why they price it in a retail store to the same price. So, because I remember I said, let me get 1 pound of powder, and I went through Hodgdon's website and that. When it all came said and done with the hazmat, everything else, that $60 1 pound or $65 keg, pound of powder, come out to 96 to get it sent to the house. Okay, that's insane. But when you're looking for a specific powder and cannot find it anywhere, all right, you're screwed. That's the thing about the reloading crisis. What I'm doing is I'm looking at what I got, what I haven't shot in a while, and I'm just going to use up what I have. And I guess what's his name there, the two-way guy that always sits there in the back of his shop and talks. He said that one of these companies that was remanufacturing ammo or making ammo, um, the powder company told them they ain't shipping no more. They cut off any sales other to government or this giant contract. So they've actually shut down one of these places for a year or so. Okay, so now I'm getting nervous that, the powder companies, because, it's true. It looks war or whatever. Europe's going nuts. And they're saying England's ready to start a war or something, or in Europe or somewhere, the Middle East, and all of this stuff is being commandeered for military use or whatever. And I think what it is that's just a lot of BS. They're just cutting off to where right now ammunition, like you guys are saying, you can pick it up, but a year from now that may change. It might not be available or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to think because everything is so out of whack here recently. And coming up here, it's like a lot of people predicted what's going on. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on now to end of the year, and they said going into the first quarter, there's going to be a giant economic shakeup of some sort. How it affects, each individual could be different. I'm not quite too worried about it, but if like I said, the future is very uncertain. No guarantees on anything. Yeah, you got a line of credit generally that's good with all the big box stores, and I bought several guns from them. Uh, their prices are pretty good compared to a lot of other places, also. Well, it kind of is, but it's still a desirable gun. Okay, even if people already own one, if you get them something a little different and the price is right, there it's easy to get them. It's not going to be like years ago where if I went to a show or a flea market, I mean, it was not long before they went and I got what I was asking. Okay, that quite ain't going to happen no more. But it is flooded. It is. It's just the gun stores. Somebody I know that's does my transfers went down to a local gun shop, and they said they have not sold a firearm of any type, used, new, whatever, any type of firearm in about over a month. Okay, they have a full gunsmithing shop there, and basically that's basically what they are. Is there's 3 or 4 guys that own this company, and they all had day jobs. They worked from like 3 or 4 in the afternoon till 9 o'clock at night and on the weekends. But it's basically if you went in there and wanted gunsmithing work done, that's their main stay. The firearms is kind of just a sideline. They'll buy, people coming in needing work want to sell a used gun or trade it for the work done. That's basically where they get a lot of stuff. And then they'll order whatever's popular and people are buying. Like he used to have them stupid 22 Magnum pistols that Caltech made way back. This is going back years. He would go and order, and he'd have one of them in the store. And of course, it was going for more than MSRP, but he'd have stuff like that. Yeah, I know there's no head. That's why the loaded ammo, and it is the loaded ammo is cheaper to buy than buying the components to reload it. You know, that's the thing. Or if it does come out, I did some calculations on what it takes me to reload a cartridge. It's like a few pennies less than if I just buy it from buy PPU, ammo. Got to slow down. Yeah. 8 pound jug for $7.99. Oh, you have an unopened jug for $79.99. That's a very old 8 pound jug of powder. Okay. Uh, 8 pound kegs go for $500 of any powder. Unique, the shotgun powders it might be four and a half. Okay, but IMR powders are 5 by the time you get them. Okay, with the hazmat and that. Yeah, 40, depending on, like I said, the shotgun or certain powders go a little less, but 60, 65 for, and when you go in there, all the powders they got in there, I don't use any of them. You know, the only thing I can tell you is give it a try. If you know what Unique does or what you're loading, I use it for cast bullets. It should be, the problem is I've used powder and primers from the 70s. Okay, they were sealed and stored right, and they've gone off, and it worked, and nothing unusual happened. Don't, try it at your own risk. I don't guarantee anything because you really don't know where the hell it's been. I bought a whole pile of 45 ammunition, 45 ACP ammo from a guy who was part of a case, and it was Hornady ammo or something. It was made back in the 90s or something. I can tell from the box. Um, I said, "Was this stored indoors?" "Oh yeah, 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 yeah." And of course, he got it for nothing. He sold it to me really cheap. But when I went and fired it, it it was recoiling hard. It was doing weird stuff, smoke, and it didn't act in the pistol right as compared to ammunition that I bought there. It does break down, and sometimes when it breaks down, it gets hotter or it's not burning right. Also, if it starts losing its thing, what happens is what people don't realize, if you put too light of a charge of certain powder in, okay, that's why you just can't use, "Oh, I have a pound of XYZ powder and I want to load a handgun with it." Well, that might be the powder you use for friggin' 300 Win Mag. Okay, it's not going to translate the burn rate, everything else. And I think when the stuff starts to get old, when you fire it, it's a certain speed that that bullet should be exiting the barrel. And if it's off a little, or the powder is burning too slow, or burning in a way that if it doesn't get the bullet out of the barrel fast enough, there will be this weird pressure increase because the timing's off. Okay, so actually loading powder too much or chemically breaks down and changes the burn rate altogether. I had some stuff that PPU made in the 90s at Hanson Ammo, and I took it out and I'm firing it, and I'm not hitting the target. It's doing weird, and it was 7 millimeter, and some of it. So I go and pull a couple cartridges and dump the powder out. Half of the powder has a yellowish color to it, and the rest of it's a grayish black. The stuff broke down over 20 years. I had to pull all that ammo down. I had like 160 rounds of it. So all I can say is give it a try. Okay, but don't quote me on that. Do so at your own risk. All right, so he said, yeah, I know. Uh, that could be true. And like I said, if they get more civil unrest, okay, when they cut the food stamps and that, there was all kinds of crazy stuff. But I'm just noticing locally that the holidays are always the worst season. I remember the first time I was a supervisor or a lead man on the second shift, and it's years ago, and the manager called us in the office, and he said, "Look, holidays are coming. Okay, just keep everybody working, but watch what you say and don't really pressure people because you don't know if people are divorced and got all this family issues and that." And he goes, "Keep everybody working, but ease off. Don't really pressure them because people can explode And then we're going to have an incident, where we got to start writing people up and threatening to fire them and stuff. So he goes, let everybody around Thanksgiving to the end of the year, get past New Year's, don't really be a stickler. He, told us. And I think a lot of that too is as the economy tightens, you see more and more of these violent things, these shootings, and it's in houses. It's not like they're attacking people walking down the street. It's got to be a personal argument and probably about money, family members, or you loan money to somebody, your cousin or some crap like that, and now he's telling you he ain't never going to pay you back. And a lot of that escalates, throwing some alcohol and narcotics, and that's when you got a real good police investigation going on. With the initiatives, Trump's there's that one company, Nemo or Federal Cartridge. I bought some of their 223 ammo, and I found that company online or on YouTube. A guy got a tour of the factory, and it's a brand new factory. And he took them through the production line. He shows them where they make the little slugs and they make the 5.56 brass. I don't know if they make the bullets there too, and then they get the powder, the primer, and that. And it was pretty impressive. And then the guy said, okay, he showed how, and it was really weird. I did a video on it. They put a sealant on there that you can see under a black light, and that's how they inspect it. And it shows how they inspect it, do all this stuff and everything. And then he says when they go and test the ammo, it's only got standard deviation of 10, around 10 on average. And I said, wow, this is pretty cool. And I mean, stuff looked good in that. It just didn't shoot worth a crap compared to some of the other stuff I got, but they talked up a good story. But the thing is, they're only making 5.56 and 9 millimeter. Okay. They're in that gap. But see, now the market's kind of getting flooded with it. And I think you're looking, when it's all said and done, for your 5.56. Okay, you're talking say 0.4 on average. Just get something. But by the time you order it, okay, and get it and you're getting taxed, no matter whether you buy it online. In the old days, I loved buying online because they never charged me sales tax. And that makes a big difference when you're buying cases of ammo. Now they do, most do. There's one place in Pennsylvania that don't, and he had 9 millimeter on sale. But if you look, his prices are higher, even with the free shipping, than most other places. Okay, so it's a balancing act. But yeah, this company's doing that. If they're going to succeed or stay in business, I don't know. There was that company who was going to try to make them primers, and they were working it. And all of a sudden, they got squashed. So there are forces out there. This is a form of control, gun control, political control, and they do manipulate or do things to suppress this. You're right. Somebody should just set up a factory and start manufacturing it. But if you're looking at all the sales prices of ammo, right now is a very bad time to do that. Because if you go and build a brand new factory like this place, you better be selling ammo and a lot of it and making a profit. And right now, they got stuff stockpiled so high that it's tough. It's a tough thing to do. All right, I'm glad. Like I said, try at your own risk. All right, but I'm telling you my own personal thing. I look at what the price is in the store, and I look at what the price is if I buy it and get it shipped to me, and it's very close to the same price. That's what I'm saying. What the store does that you shop at or whatever, I don't know. Okay. But I'm just saying when I go to the store and I look at what a pound of powder costs and I order a case or 8 pounds of it, it's pretty damn close dollar wise. Very few dollar difference, less than a $10 difference. If the AR bulk carrier groups, there are so many of them things made. Let me look. And what the hell you're talking about? AR parts. Boom, 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 boom. $54. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, bulk carrier groups. I got some. The nitrided ones, depending on who makes them, okay, are generally priced under Casino, under 100, and they have been. They usually run about $60. I kind of don't like them. What I like are the ones that have the internal where the bolt rides in the carrier, uh, chrome lined. Okay, those I found are the best. The nitride ones are okay. I've used them. I fired them. Actually, all the budget guns have them in there, so they do work. Okay, and if you look at them, they're all a little bit different how they're staked and everything. I've never had one, no matter what, how they did it, how they staked it, or some of them they just pinch that where the counter bore is real thin. So they'll come and just pinch it, so getting it out ain't going to be easy. I've never had them things come loose on any bolt carrier, no matter what the hell I paid for it. Okay, I like the ones that are chrome lined inside. Go to PSA, find that government contract overrun, you can get them for 70 beans. Generally, that type of bolt carrier that's chromed inside used to sell for 1.5. Okay, a C-note and a half is what they went for, and the nitride ones were just under a C-note, like 80, 90. They are lower now. So that particular bolt carrier group probably was 80, $90 at one time. It'll probably work. I don't know. What are you building? Are you running full auto, suppress, like the guys asking me about the suppressor? You know, there are a lot of factors, but just the plain Jane ones like that, that's what goes into budget guns. You know, are you building one? I'd get them. Actually, I may buy some. If they're low enough like that, I just buy a bunch of them and stick them aside for the future. No, you don't have sales tax in Oregon. Yeah, I know. I ordered something. Generally, everything's been getting here to me quick, but now all of a sudden it's all getting weird again. Uh, I'm waiting for all kinds of stuff. Yeah, the nickel boron. There's a lot of people that like them. I don't know how expensive they are or what they run for. Yeah, I kind of know that. I'm not going to get into, I just made my statement. Okay. If it was less expensive for me to go to the store and buy the stuff, I would. But for some bizarre reason, okay, if you bought 1 pound of powder and had, like I said, it would cost you $90 to get it shipped to you. Yeah, the store is cheaper. But I buy stuff in, you know, 8 pound lots to spread that fee out. It's like you don't buy 1,000 uh, primers, you buy a case of 5,000. That way you divide that money across 5 units, 5 different items. That's how you got to buy it. You're not going to go and buy just catch a break on 1,000, a carton of 1,000. That don't work that way. Well, bulk carrier groups and barrels again. What are you shooting? Okay, I see people take these guns and get a case of ammo and fire the case of ammo through the rifle. Okay, I had a gun I built a while back. I don't think between me and my wife shooting the thing over the past, it's been over 10 years, I don't think we got 1,000 rounds through it. Okay, and we're not doing mag dumps or going on full auto or firing with a suppressor or doing anything stressful to it. Um, you know, paying some bulk carrier groups are $600-700 each. All right, it depends what kind of wear or what are we talking about here. Unless the thing they're lying to you, because I found some that were reasonable, that the actual carrier body was made from some kind of extruded tubing. I can tell it was not a solid steel part like it should be. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, stuff that went for $100, it's low and it's real low. Like those, I might buy a bunch of them uh, bolt carrier units because they're chrome plated inside, and that's $150 deal for a generic one. Okay, um, and they hold up. They hold up better than the nitrated ones over time. You don't get because the nitrated ones, you get wear and that in there. Uh, I just have some actually. I build. I had a couple new. I took the old bolts and parts out of one rifle and put them into the new rifle and still running them. So, uh, yeah, it's what you want to do. And yeah, some of the barrels I seen. See, that's why I go with chrome line barrels. I like them. The nitride ones ain't bad, but who makes them, where they come from, or what they say they are. I've seen some that PSA runs that, yeah, I don't know what the hell they are. They do shoot. People are happy with them, and go out do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. When I'm gonna get to it, I don't know. But right now, I'm pretty busy. I'm clearing out what I made. I'm working on something, and because the build can't be shown on YouTube, it's all going on Rumble, and I'm working on that. But I have to get all this stuff kind of finished up before I can have them lined up to compare. I ain't quite ready for it yet, but yeah, I will do that. Okay. Yes, they are. There is a company you find online that I order. When I order a case. I think it's 15 or 20 pounds at a time. You know, you can buy black powder in bulk. You know, 1 pound. Yeah, you're not going to get bigger than a 1 pound can, but there is a place that'll ship you, I think, 20 pounds. And that's what I do. And you can mix and match. So if you need 1F, 2F, you know, I always get a can of 4 in order and all that other stuff. But that's the only way to do it is to buy the case is the best way to do it. Yeah, see, I had that stuff and I just traded, liquidated, used up. I found the accuracy wasn't there. I've shot a lot of it. I shot a lot of wolf and uh, whatever the other ones were. I've shot a lot of the Russian ammo, but now when it was really cheap, yeah. But now it's a couple pennies less than something like PPU or some other foreign-made ammo. It's not worth it. The steel case stuff, unless the 9mm I got in steel because I just don't want to pick the damn stuff up. They got magnets at my range. I just scoop it all up, throw it in a bucket. I ain't got to screw with it. The brass I still take, and like I said, the brass I can sell that for scrap money. No, thank you for being a member. I mean, you know, that kind of has picked up. I started putting them plugs in there, and a lot of people do the membership, send support. It's about the only way you kind of can, uh, you know. And I get taxed on it, but the hell you gonna do, you know? Uh, you used to have that PayPal pay me, but now that's all screwed up. And PayPal's been changing their damn things, and anything connected with firearms or anything in any way, shape, or form. I knew a guy did something. He sold something for like $5,000. They found out it had something to do with a gun part or something or some kind of transaction. They held the money. They told him we're keeping it. He lost $5,000 because of that. He got lawyers and everything, and he just the way the agreement's written. They did say that if you spoke out on social media against the war in the Ukraine, that they would fine you 2K or something. I never, I remember that rumor. I never know if it happened to anybody, but I don't see how an electronic payment service can fine you money for what you say or disagree with, okay, verbally. So I don't know. All right, you're welcome. Yeah, if you shoot a ton of it, the steel case ammo, it's not expanding all the way. It was used during the war because during the war, you send people out with a gun, the people in the gun may never be seen again, destroyed or whatever. So in a way, it's all right. But I believe like if you went and fired thousands and thousands of rounds through any gun, okay, ARs, pistols, it would probably wear parts out faster than if you shot just brass ammo. You know, brass does have some give to it where the steel don't. Yeah, You can. You can do that. I've done it. I don't. I just use a smokeless powder, and I don't even put a wad in there to hold it in there. And I've had no trouble. I've discussed that with somebody else. Because one time when I put the KPOC or whatever down on the powder charge, somehow the case got jostled and the damn powder got up in front of that wad. And I had like a hang fire. I eliminated that. I don't put grits or nothing. I don't try to push it on there. And I have a low pressure burning powder that I use on all them loads that I've never had an issue with, even though I'm only putting like 23 grains of the crap in there. So, and then again, you can believe me or go by what you think is safe. That's why I don't reload, or kind of, if you want reloading data, you got to pay for it. It's not to the general public, because I don't need somebody saying, hey, I did what you said, the gun blew up, killed me, or maimed me, or whatever. But I don't do it. Bought a Microbress Chrome bolt carrier group sale. It came with an undersized gas key. Okay, do you know what the specs are on all of that to measure? Undersized gas key. Um, well, yeah, it's hard to say. A lot of places like Royal Tiger eliminates all the real bad feedback. You kind of can't go by feedback. Okay. Uh, it depends, like I said, what you're building. Microbest Chrome bolt carrier group. Let's see. Let me look that up. All right, let's take a look. $129. Includes so you said that the undersized gas key. Yeah, a little over $100. That ain't. I don't know. I've never heard of it. Now you got me interested. I might have to get one. You mean it wouldn't go into the build because it's undersized? The gas tube wouldn't engage. Yes, I've had to rebuild, ejectors and extractors and stuff, and it's not that terrible of a thing. I even the gas rings were tore up on Anderson, because what Anderson did with that bolt is they drilled at an angle instead of straight. And whenever you go at an angle into a cylinder, okay, unless you have a certain way of deburring it, okay, it's difficult to deburr it. Okay, straight hole coming through, but whatever happens, and the reason they got troubles is their deburring process left burrs in there and it tear up the gas keys and all that other fun crap. That's what it was. That's what I noticed about that thing. But if I can buy another whole bolt carrier group for $60, $70, just a matter of changing it out to really get to it. Or you just liquidate the rifle to someone you don't like. You know. So but yeah. And quality, it all depends. You know, sometimes you find good stuff, sometimes you find stuff that's what am I drinking? It's thermos full of scotch. It's coffee. Okay, it's black coffee is what it is. Yes. Did anybody ever get one of those? I've seen Blackhawk Arsenal, the bolt carriers with the sand cuts in them, like they used to put on FNFALs that went out to the Middle East. Somebody made a bolt carrier group like that, and they dropped down. They were on sale. I was thinking of getting one just to see what the hell it did. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah, that's the thing. You're not going to get it. I mean, yeah, when this stuff was dirt cheap, yeah, just go shoot. If you're shooting like steel plates and stuff, that stuff's good. You know, I don't do that. I don't have that at my range or a range set up where I can clang steel with a rifle. So, you know, I shoot at a target. So if the stuff is like all over the place, an AK-47, you know, if you're hitting the middle of them diamonds, I use at 100 yard. If you're close to the diamond, that's good. You mean the one with the sand cuts in them? The heck am I watching? Watching our live chat is what you're watching. But yeah, let's see. I have to look and see if they have them. That MicroBest. Let me see if this place. Carrier groupings. Yeah, a lot of these things are now $60, $70. Toolcraft, BMA. Some are better, and you know, if you feel better buying one, there's lightweights, which I never tried those. Wondering if they'd enhanced, low mass, Faxton. Here's a Dirty Bird sand cut. Let's see what the hell we got here. Now that one has them on the underside. I'm not sure. Sand, dirt, mud, and that. They had them cheaper than this, and they had a different type of cuts on there. I have to look into that. Triangle cut. Yeah, I'm not quite familiar with them, but I do know that a lot of the FNFALs that they built, Century Arm built them, had sand cuts on the bolt, so you pick it up and see the grooves cut into the bolt carrier or whatever the hell. And those were ones used for the Middle East. Yeah, I was just wondering if it made a difference. I don't intend on going into the desert or anything like this. Uh, you can't really say it's a hunting channel. Uh, you know, it's just a Sunday live chat with my subscribers. Okay. But yeah, I was curious about, or like he said about that chrome line one, or one that's chrome. Because I think nickel boron, some people got them and they were seemed around it. All right, so you must have got that back a while back. Other than DPMS, I don't really think anybody's putting them out there. Low mass, same cut. Stainless steel profile. Faxted firearms. Valkyrie bolt. Enhanced stainless steel. All right. Well, yeah, I guess more than one makes them. Uh, yeah, like 1911s. Um, and I like a lot of other handguns too. Yeah, Century Arms, like I said, that's I've seen one of them or whatever in a gun shop in a used rack. I never shot it or got to examine it very closely. Yeah, Sons of Liberty stuff is good. Okay, I've only heard good things about it. Um, you know, price wise, I don't know. It depends. It's what you feel with. Like I said, I bought some stuff. It does look crappy, and if it don't work, don't fit, or gets worn as shit, you know, after 150 rounds, you see a finish coming off of the bolt and everything. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Um, but Sons of Liberty, that's I've heard good things about them. Detect 9. Well, the reloads, a lot of that has to do. I think the reason my reloads don't work in the one budget gun, that's the one where it goes together. The upper and lower fit is tighter than crap. So probably that upper uh, receiver is slightly canted high. Or if you use regular ammo, it'll function. The reloads are lighter because they were loaded for accuracy, not for velocity and power. And the reloads will work in some rifles, but they won't work in the other. And I think the reason it binds up and catches, and it also did that in that polymer gun, because that thing must flex all over the damn place. That's what it is. Okay, because probably when even though you size them, they drop into the cartridge gauge. They're supposed to chamber and everything. There's something probably after it, the brass doesn't go 100% back or something, or the rim's a little weird, or it's just underpowered and the gun don't like the underpowered rounds. It's tough to diagnose. Yeah, it could be that too. Like I said, there's several things that it could be. One is I know that the power is not there. Okay, so it's a lighter load. Um, Could be the extractor, because you got to remember that's already been in and out of a gun. That rim probably isn't perfect. See, that's why I like that stainless steel pin tumbling, because any weird burrs or stuff, when I put it in there and clean them and tumble them, it kind of takes all that crap off of there. But if it is bent to a degree, okay, that may be an issue too. See, it's hard to say. I have some guns that'll lead anything. Okay, it's just the way they are. And with this, we just talked about bolt carrier groups, about 5 different types of them. So there's stuff all over the place. Now, quality wise and everything else. See, another thing that hurt the whole AR-15 thing is they were cranking stuff out so fast over the years, be it lowers, bits, pieces, parts, barrels. They were just cranking the stuff out. Some of the stuff is kind of on the crappy side of town. That's just the way it goes. A lot of them barrels that PSA put on their kits, even when you cleaned them out, they were weird looking. They shot okay and that, but how long they'd last or what kind of barrels they were didn't look finished. We'll see. Now I got a bore scope. I might get one just to kind of look in there and see what the hell is going on as compared to another one, But yeah, barrels do make a difference. And in all of them, 5.56 and AKs, I love the chrome line barrels because they're great. When it comes to cleaning them, done. Well, we've been getting into about an hour and a half or so. I want to get going. Getting tired. My legs are getting numb from sitting there. Got to get up and wander around a little. Get my daily exercise in. I'd like to thank you all for showing up, and another interesting discussion. A lot of participation by everybody, and actually got about 20 people showed up today, so that's pretty good. We'll be back next week, same time. And I'd like to thank you all for stopping by, and please drop by next week.